Get excited, football fans. Danny Dimes is officially back. Daniel Jones has officially been named the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. Our Matt Zenitz confirming the news this morning. Jones notably taking the starting job away from Anthony Richardson, who, if you remember, the Colts took at number 4 back in 2023. Jones spent the first 6 years of his career with the New York Giants. He was then released by the G-Men last November. Finished out the year with the Vikings. Shane Steichen saying, quote, "He's the starting quarterback for the season. I don't want to have a short leash on that." All right, so DJ back in the starting QB1 role as we welcome you into CBS Sports HQ. Haley Sutton, happy to be joined by our NFL experts. We've got our former defensive lineman, Douzable and Pete Prisco, who's covered more Super Bowls than I can keep count with. Guys, let's start with that big news. Of course, Daniel Jones being named the starter. Pete, I'll come to you first here. Is this the right decision for the Colts in 25?
It depends on what you're trying to do. In the short term, do you know what you have in Daniel Jones? Sure you do.
Correct.
He's succeeded in the NFL at times. He's been good at times. He's been bad at times, inconsistent. But you don't know what you have in Anthony Richardson. And I think they're making a mistake by trying to not find out what he is. I would find out what he is. Or the question becomes, have they already found and decided what he is? And that's the worst case scenario for the Indianapolis Colts. I think this is a decision based on we know what he is now, and he's not our starting quarterback.
Guys, we were just talking about how I like to cook, I like to chef it up. So I'm gonna give an analogy. Daniel Jones is like oatmeal, right? It's not exciting, but there's substance. It gets you full, right? You know what he is, to Pete's point. When you look at Anthony Richardson, he's like a delicacy, right? It's like puffer fish. But you know the issue with a puffer fish? If you cut it wrong, it could kill you. And that's what Anthony Richardson is in regards to the plays that he doesn't make on the field. He makes the wild plays, right, Pete? He makes the home runs and the triples, but the simple singles and doubles, he doesn't consistently do that the right way. And another thing, Pete, you have to be available. He has not been available. He's been hurt almost every season. First year misses the majority of the season. Next year gets hurt, but then also takes himself out of the game. So if you're Shane Steichen, heading into year 3, you've covered this game for a long time, Pete. You know, usually you're up against it in year 3 if you haven't made the playoffs. So if you're Shane Steichen, you say, I go back to that 2022 tape. And Daniel Jones, if we get 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, throws for over 3,200 yards and rushes for over 700, we're probably in the playoffs, because we almost made the playoffs with Gardner Minshew my first year. So we saw Daniel Jones. He already has a connection with Tyler Warren, who was their first-round pick. And they had 3 receivers last year go for over 800 yards with inept quarterback play. So if they just get semi-consistent quarterback play, this is a team that could potentially fight for one of those playoff wildcard spots. I mean, they've done it the last 2 years with Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew.
They're all banged up in this secondary. The secondary is a major question. But first time ever a player's been compared to a pufferfish.
That was actually really good. I didn't have a response because it was a good analogy. I did want to ask you, though, Pete, big picture here. If we've decided that Anthony Richardson isn't the answer, what does that mean for his future? And even I'll take it a step further, of the front office, Chris Ballard, the guy who drafted him.
Well, Chris Ballard's in trouble. And this message is the coach saying, I don't care if you're in trouble or not. I'm going to play who I think can win. Chris Ballard, think about this. The Colts haven't won the division since Andrew Luck was there. It's been a lot. Every other team in the division has won it twice since then, and they have not. So the pressure's clearly on Chris Ballard. If they don't make the playoffs, I think he's out. If they don't make the playoffs, Shane Steichen could be out. So they're hitching their wagon to Daniel Jones. Is that a good thing? Look, it's one's not that much better than the other one.
I guess.
My thing is, do you look at this maybe like a Bryce Young scenario? Right now, again, for Shane Steichen, you need to make the playoffs, or you're probably going to be under fire in regards to maybe getting fired. But we saw Bryce Young take a step back, and he was benched last year. And when he came back, Pete, he played significantly better. We knew when Anthony Richardson came into the league, he was the quarterback that was going to need to develop the most. He has not been able to sit behind a veteran and learn, 1, because he's been hurt, and 2, because he hasn't been consistent. So this will be the first time he'll be able to actually sit behind a veteran quarterback, and Daniel Jones is a veteran quarterback. And to Shane Steichen's point, this isn't a short leash thing. He's going to be the quarterback. Maybe Anthony Richardson, this could benefit him in the long run. Now, hurts him in the short term, but maybe this benefits him in the long run.
I don't think it benefits him at all, because he needs to play to show people he can play. If he doesn't play, all this
he's going to always get a chance because he was top 5 pick.
Yeah, he's going to get a chance, but I think now you look at it, you say, can he be a starter in this league? And if you can't start over Daniel Jones, can you start over anybody else in this league? And that's a major question mark. Look, the Colts, this is not a great situation at quarterback. The good news is next year is a great quarterback draft. So if you
That's what they always say.
Next year,
all right.
I'm already on it.
You're on it now?
It's a great quarterback draft.
Okay, if Pete's on it, then that must mean it is true. We go from one quarterback controversy competition that has been settled to another team that has too many quarterbacks to deal with. Of course, the Browns, they do have a QB1. It is going to be Joe Flacco. Seems like that veteran experience. It never was really a topic of conversation. Kind of a similar question here, Pete. Is Joe Flacco the answer in Cleveland?
For this year, he is. For the long term, probably not. I mean, I think he's my age. I mean, so I don't think he can play in the long term. But for right now, he gives them the best chance to win. I don't think there's any question about that. The issue becomes, what do you do going forward? If Joe Flacco is 1-5, do you pull him and put one of the younger players in? And if you do put one of the younger players in, who is it? How many are you carrying? What do you do with Kenny Pickett? Does he stay on the roster? Do you keep 4? I can't imagine they're keeping 4. So if they're not keeping 4, does that mean Pickett gets released? Does that mean you try and trade Pickett? I think there's a couple options at play here. But let's remember one very important thing. Preseason quarterback play by young quarterbacks means absolutely nothing. Zero.
Not getting schemed against.
No. And not getting schemed against, and you're playing against bouncers and bartenders coming in 3 weeks. Man. So the bottom line is, I think you need to hold back on the evaluation of Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, because they see him in practice. They see him in training camp. They know who they are. Are they, you know, number 3 and number 4 for a reason, or is Kevin Stefanski just stupid? I think Kevin Stefanski's a lot smarter than most of the fans out there.
Pete Prisco is in full season form, Lee J.
That's hilarious. I will say this, Shedeur actually played against the starters from the Carolina Panthers, except for J.C. Horn and Derrick Brown. That little caveat, just to put that out there. But I would say this, we were talking earlier, Pete, why not play the young guys and see what you have? Because there is a scenario, a real scenario, where the Browns are in this same scenario next year. And to Pete's point, a lot of people are saying this is a great quarterback draft class. Why don't you see what the young guys are? You know that Joe Flacco's not part of the future. He's not going to be part of the foreseeable future. So why not play the young guys? And even if it's in a rotational role where you play Dylan Gabriel one game, you play Shedeur Sanders one game, figure out. I mean, you have to figure out what you have in those young guys. Let me ask
you this, okay, Liz, you're a player. You've been a player. You were a player on teams.
It sucks being on teams.
If the best player that gives you the best chance to win is sitting down so you can evaluate 2 young quarterbacks, is that right for the rest of the team?
If you start off, to your point, if you start off 1-5.
No, we're not talking about 1-5. We're talking about now.
No, to start the season, I'm not having that conversation. You start the season with Joe Flacco, but I'm saying going forward, you need to figure out what you have in these young guys, because there's a real scenario with the draft capital they have, Pete. They could be a top 2 or 3 pick to pick a quarterback for the foreseeable future. So say, you know, they lose to the Bengals, Ravens, Packers, Lions, which that's a gauntlet to start off with, and the Vikings. Say they start off 1-4 or 0-5. Like by week 6, do you decide we're going to get one of these young guys ready just to see what we have? Because if we have something in one of these young quarterbacks, then we don't have to go quarterback next year.
Or they put one of the young guys in because they realize they're not going to win many games, and they have a better chance to get the best quarterback.
They have the draft capital anyway to move up if they want to.
They can do whatever they want next year, and they will get a quarterback next year. I'm predicting.
You think
no matter what, they're going to get a quarterback.
So what happens with the 5 that we don't have time to get into that, actually. I got to keep this on tight here. We're going to keep that for
some of those guys ain't going to be on the roster.
No,
for sure.
Well, this year one of them might not be on the roster. I know they keep talking about keeping 4. That's
no way.
There's no way
they're keeping 4.
There's a lot. All right, well, we'll learn a little bit of clarity week 1. We got the starter. It's Joe Flacco, and the Browns are going to take on the Bengals in that week 1 matchup, which is where we go next with our news. The Trey Hendrickson saga continues, guys. We did get a little bit of clarity on the contract update when it comes to him on the broadcast last night. The reporter Laura Rutledge said that the holdup is on the guaranteed money, but the years and the average annual value is good here, Pete. I mean, what are we waiting on? How much impact does the guaranteed money really have when you see the defense that went out and played yesterday?
But the defense wasn't good when he was there last year. I mean, he had 17 and a half.
10 times
but
worse
it's got to be better with him in the mix.
If I'm the Bengals, I'm calling his agent in and saying, hey, we were 25th in the league last year with your guy getting 17 and a half.
He's going to be 32nd this year.
But you got to be realistic about it. And I think, look, he's under contract for another year. It's not like he's a free agent. He's under contract. So, you know, everybody says, oh, well, he's holding the card. No, he's not. He's not going to leave $16 million on the table. You keep rolling around. You think he's going to leave
I know, Trey. I'm just trying to tell you.
There's no chance in hell he's leaving.
You said the same thing about Hassan Reddick, and I told you he was going to hold out, Pete. Hassan Reddick. And you said there's no way he's going to leave that on the table. I'm telling you, these players are different. If they feel like they are undervalued, they will sit out. Trey Hendrickson, he has no problem. Me and Haley were with him at the catch. he will sit on his boat in Florida and chill out with his family.
Then he's going to sit on his boat and turn 31, and then he's going to come back next year.
He's made enough money. He's good.
And who has his rights next year if he sits out the year?
And the Bengals will be at Cancun on 3 again.
And they keep saying, oh, well, Micah Parsons might cut his ties with the team. He can't cut his ties with the team. He can't. He's under contract for this year. They can tag him next year, and they can tag him the year after. The bottom line is, look, the Bengals want to give him a good contract. They want to make him close to value-wise what they get for T.J. Watt, what they get for Myles Garrett. And that's fair. That's what they should do. The structure is a problem for the Bengals. Here's why. A lot of these teams are cash poor. The Bengals aren't one of those teams that have an owner that just rips off a check and writes a check for the signing bonus. So they got to be a little more aware of what they do with the guaranteed money.
But that's the issue. It's not just the check one time. It's the number of years of guaranteed. Right. And you know this. We talked about this. T.J. Watt, I believe, got 3 years of it guaranteed, and he's older than Trey Hendrickson. And then when you look at it, back-to-back seasons with 17+ sacks. Look at the rare air he's in. J.J. Watt, Reggie White, Mark Gastineau, and Richard Dent. Like, that's rare air to be in. And to your point, yes, their defense struggled. But if you made a precedence on paying all the offensive players and you feel like you're going to score 30 points a game, you need somebody that can at least be a closer, and that's what Trey Hendrickson is. Back-to-back 17.5 sack season. So I don't get it. They did it with Shamar Stewart, trying to change the precedence with the language in his contract. Now they're doing it with Trey Hendrickson. The market is the market. It's your fault. If you had paid him earlier, you wouldn't have had to pay him T.J. Watt money or give him the amount of guarantees that he's looking for because T.J. Watt got that deal. Because you drug your foot, this is why you're in this scenario. I'm all for the player getting everything he possibly can. But the reality is every show or every analyst you hear always takes the agent side because they feed them full of that side of the thing. The reality is these guys are under contract. So if they don't have to give him a new deal, there's nothing that says they have to. Is that right? You're right, but you know what that also says? If you're a potential free agent and you're going there, look how they do their star players. Why would I want to go to the Bengals?
And we saw it with Jamar Chase as well, too. I mean, this is a regular thing that we see out of the Bengals.
And he got his contract, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's the thing. They pay the offensive players, but they keep messing with the defense. And the defense is obviously the issue. So why not pay the defensive players? The defensive
style is changing now. They're going to be more aggressive, more blitz-oriented without Golden than they were.
They can't stop the run.
Well, I mean, just you know, I personally think they're both at fault here. You can't just say it's on the team. It's on the agent as well.
Yes or no? He will play Week 1.
Absolutely, 100%.
If a deal's done, yes. If not, no. He won't play.
All right, we'll leave it there. Let's talk about Brian Robinson Jr. and the Washington Commanders. Of course, they were on the other side of that matchup against the Bengals yesterday, and it kind of just seems like we're on to the next. Pete, even before we started, you did your little motion when it comes to running backs and moving on. They have found a rookie in Ja'Cory Bill Krosky-Merritt. I'm going to tell you a fun fact about that Bill in a minute, but first, I guess we're seeing the end of B-Rob out in Washington.
And they were not happy with him and the way he played last year. He's a physical back. They didn't feel like, from what you hear around the league, he wasn't as physical as they wanted him to be. And so you move back from that. You say, hey, I got a young running back. I drafted him. He's got some explosive ability. We saw that against the Bengals. Yep. He can rip off long runs. He's got talent. They also have a couple other guys. Rodriguez is a pretty good inside tough runner too. Yeah. So I think when you look at it from that standpoint, it makes all the sense. The question becomes, okay, we're peddling him around the league. For what?
What are you going to get for him?
What are you getting for him?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, if you're a team that needs a running back and Washington clearly doesn't have a dominant #1 running back and they're getting rid of him, why are they getting rid of him and what do you want for him? What are you going to get for him?
Probably a compensatory pick, right? A 7th-round pick, maybe a pick swap is what the Commanders are looking to do. And you talked about it. They got some depth there. Austin Eckler is kind of like their 3rd down back. Jeremy McNichols is still there.
They got Debo that can run the ball.
We saw that yesterday. He can run the ball as well. But Krosky-Merritt, I really loved him. If he didn't get hurt in Arizona last year, he probably would have went higher in the draft. Probably would have been maybe a 4th, 3rd-round pick. He's a guy that has some explosive ability, can catch the ball out of the backfield. You saw the tough running ability. But me and you, Pete, we could have ran through that hole yesterday and got about 20 yards. That's, again, a shot at the Bengals.
But he's been really good.
But he's been, throughout camp, he's been really good. So this is what it is, right? When you're a veteran player, the young guy is always coming to take your spot. And he's a lot cheaper. So for the Commanders, they're like, why not keep the younger, cheaper talent and see if we can get some draft capital for the vet and Brian
Let me
Robinson.
reach behind me and grab another running back. Boom.
While you're doing that, just so you guys are aware, he's been known as Jacory. He wants to go by Bill, and the reason why is because when he was a kid, he had a bad haircut, and everyone growing up used to call him Little Bill, like the show back in the day, and people would make fun of him, and so now he's embracing it. He wants to be called Bill. So making your haters your motivators, I guess, in Washington.
Thick skin, I like it,
yeah, you're kind of guy, Pete Prisco.
I like that.
The countdown to Sundays is on here at CBS. Pete and Lige going to hang out with us for just a few more minutes. But in the meantime, get excited for the NFL on CBS September 7th. Check those local listings. And remember, your game also could be streaming on Paramount+.